AEW president Tony Khan says AEW is so close to the big touchdown he's been trying to score with regards to the AEW television deal, with some reports suggesting that a new deal with Warner Bros. Discovery could be announced imminently. All of the details on that, plus more details on Dijak, his departure from WWE, the backstage reaction to his departure, as well as the lack of contract talks between the two parties. Tony Khan provides an injury update on Brit Baker. He's also commented on the possibility of Forbidden Door turning into an international pay-per-view. Tony Khan also opens up on Jeff Jarrett's emotional interview regarding the late Owen Hart that recently aired on AEW television. Glacier has been hired by AEW to work as a backstage producer, and tonight SmackDown is going to be in Madison Square Garden, and it's going to have a special stage setup. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about the AEW television deal with Warner Bros. Discovery inching ever closer. Let's get straight into this. Firstly, comments from AEW President Tony Khan. Now, AEW's television deal with Warner Bros. Discovery is coming up at the end of this year, and the Pro Wrestling Rumor Mill recently indicated that the exclusive negotiating window between AEW and WBD is about to close. With that in mind, a new deal with WBD could be announced any day or week now. If AEW lands on the higher end of the money figure that they've been trying to negotiate, then it will make all the critics of their ratings results this year look very foolish. Of course, though, if AEW lands on the lower end of the rumoured money figures being thrown around, then it shows that AEW's rating slump came at the worst possible time and that the critics were justified. Now, of course, if AEW lands somewhere in the middle, I guess nothing really will change when it comes to the pro wrestling discourse about All Elite Wrestling. The point is, the terms of the AEW TV deal will rank among the very biggest pro wrestling news stories of the year, because it will go a long way towards determining AEW's financial health over the next few years, and certainly talent budget, pay-per-view budget, event budget, etc, etc, etc. Now, on a call with media yesterday ahead of this weekend's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, AEW President Tony Khan acknowledged the importance of AEW's next TV deal and used a football metaphor to express strong optimism about where things were headed on that front. He said, quote, "It's been a big year for AEW with our media rights renewal coming up, and it's going to affect everybody who works here in AEW. Our wrestlers, our staff, and everybody in the company, and the fans of the company too. You know, the deal we make and the distribution. So it's a really important time for us. And the fact we've gotten here, and we're at this point, and I believe we're in the red zone right now, and really approaching the goal line, and about to make a big push for the big touchdown we've been chasing for years. I think it's really, really exciting that we're so close, and this has been a great drive together with you the past 5 years. I've enjoyed it, and I hope we're about to put the ball in the end zone. I can feel it coming, and it's a really exciting time." Now, a bit more details on this comes from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who is reporting today that there are expectations that the AEW media rights deal would be announced imminently, maybe even before the expiration of the exclusive window for negotiating that is just about over. Those at WBD were expecting to sign a new deal imminently, but it was also said that talks haven't gotten into the major specifics. The exclusive period ends in a few weeks. So the expectation is that a new deal could be announced in the next couple of weeks. Do you think a new deal will be announced? Do you think a new deal will be signed? What end of the money spectrum do you think a new deal between AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery would actually look like? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments section below. Now, Dijak, he's leaving WWE. It was a big story yesterday. On June 27th, Dijak announced on social media that he had been notified by WWE that they would not be re-signing him at the, quote, 11th hour, and that he would be exiting the company today on June 28th. Now, Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp has learned that Dijak was notified that WWE would not be re-signing at some point following his WWE Speed match with Xavier Woods that was filmed in the last 2 weeks, but has not been able to learn when WWE made the decision that they would not be re-signing him. When speaking with Sapp, Dijak said in an interview that's set to be released later on today that he has theories that WWE had planned to let his deal wind down for a while. Throughout the process of his contract winding down, Corey Brennan has been told by various sources within WWE and NXT that Dijak was well liked and praised by officials in the company, and as Dijak confirmed in his tweet, was originally set to challenge for the NXT Championship before he was called up without notice to Monday Night Raw during the WWE draft. Now, Fightful have also been told that Shawn Michaels was a big supporter of Dijak's, despite the two having minor disagreements about creative differences in the past. Dijak told Sapp that Michaels called him directly to welcome him back to the NXT brand, and Dijak would fly there for weeks at a time to get training in as he lives in New Hampshire. Now, questions about why Dijak was not being presented on screen were left unanswered when Fightful inquired, but talent Brennan spoke to often expressed their surprise that Dijak wasn't a regular on Raw. Dijak told Sapp directly that he could tell something was afoot when he wasn't included in the plans for WWE Raw the first couple of weeks after the draft. Now, since his call-up, there were several weeks where Dijak was not even brought to the tapings, and when he was, his plans were often shifted around between the main event and speed tapings, but was never planned for an appearance on Monday Night Raw. Fightful have also previously reported that there were no creative plans in place when he got called up. Again, this was largely out of the blue. Now, sources close to Dijak's camp had made Fightful aware that early negotiations had begun recently and that they were positive preliminary negotiations before official negotiations began. However, following these negotiations, WWE did not reach out again until Dijak was notified his contract would not be renewed and no serious negotiations took place over a new deal. Now, those that Fightful spoke to were shocked by the fact WWE did not attempt to negotiate with Dijak, with one former WWE talent noting that 20 years ago, Dijak, quote, would have had a job till his legs fell off, end quote. Now, as had been previously reported, there is interest in and outside of the world of professional wrestling in Dijak, and he's expected to have little issue with receiving bookings following his contract officially expiring today on June 28th. Now, Brennan has also learned that at least two promotions based in Europe will be reaching out to Dijak with possible appearances. Sapp was told that major companies have been in contact with Dijak's management to gauge things now. Of course, as I mentioned, there is going to be a more in-depth interview coming out between Dijak and Fightful later on today. I'm sure there'll be news stories coming out of that. Of course, we get any details or clips from it, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. Now, Brit Baker, what's the latest with the former AEW Women's World Champion? Well, AEW CEO Tony Khan has given an update on Brit Baker's injury status and expressed his excitement at the former AEW Women's World Champion's impending return. Khan spoke to reporters ahead of the AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view, where he revealed that Baker is close to being cleared to wrestle and returning to the promotion. Quote, really excited about Brit Baker being close to ready for a return to AEW. She's been out with an injury and was not cleared to wrestle. I do expect that sometime soon she could return. So I would absolutely love that, said Khan. Now, Baker hasn't wrestled since last September, with reports suggesting that she has been on the sidelines due to a back injury. The AEW president is eager to have some of his top stars return to the company from injury, with Baker being one of those he named. He said, quote, it's going to feel amazing when we've got great stars. Brit Baker is a great example. It will be great to have the Doctor back in AEW, Khan stated. Certainly for me, I know that Dr. Brit Baker and fans all over the world will be excited to see her return. I'm glad that she's going to be cleared to return very soon. Khan also said in the media call that he hopes to have the other top AEW stars like Jamie Hayter, Adam Cole, and Kenny Omega back in action soon. Baker's last match came on the September 16 edition of AEW Collision, where she faced then AEW TBS champion Chris Statlander. If we get any more details on that, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. Now, Forbidden Door, of course, is this weekend, but could we see the pay-per-view be broadcast or held internationally in the future? AEW and New Japan are just days away from walking through the Forbidden Door for a third time, as the annual collaborative pay-per-view will take place on June 30. The event launched in 2022 at the United Center in Chicago before making its way north of the border to the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada in 2023. With the 2024 show taking place in New York, Tony Khan discussed the possibility of the show being held outside of North America. During the media call to promote Forbidden Door, Khan admitted that he is not only open to the idea, but is also interested in doing other events in Japan. He said, quote, we've taken making it international so far to Toronto, but potentially could we expand out to the continent? I do think so, Khan said. It's interesting with the idea of Forbidden Door in Japan. I do think that there's a great potential to grow the idea and also as a pay-per-view event, launch other events in Japan in collaboration with New Japan Pro Wrestling outside of the Forbidden Door, which is something I think we've really built great excitement and great business gates for here on the Western Hemisphere. And when it comes to the business side of the Forbidden Door brand, the two previous events have surpassed the $1 million mark at the live gate, and according to Khan, the 2024 event is set to continue that strong trend. He said, quote, "We're poised to top the $1 million gate mark for the third straight year," Khan said, which means every Forbidden Door will have a $1 million gate. It's been a great success story. We're looking to have over 10,000 fans attending at the UBS Arena. It'll be one of our top shows of the year. So what are your thoughts on Forbidden Door actually being held outside of North America? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, Jeff Jarrett and the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Of course, he's been making the headlines recently with his emotional interview considering his strong ties to his former tag team partner. For younger fans, seeing Jeff Jarrett in the bracket of the 2024 Owen Hart Foundation tournament may have seemed initially like a strange move. However, no one in the tournament's history has had a closer relationship with the late Hart than the last Outlaw himself. The two men had a close relationship outside of the ring and worked even better inside of it, becoming WWE Tag Team Champions together in 1999. Jarrett had the morbid task of wrestling immediately after Hart's fatal accident at the Over the Edge pay-per-view in May of that year. Due to these reasons, fans believe that no star deserves a spot in the competition more than Jarrett. And during the media call to promote the AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view, AEW President Tony Khan seemed to agree following Jarrett's emotional backstage promo. He said, quote, "To see Jeff open up and to see the side of Jeff we see backstage, I thought that was really amazing," Khan said. Jeff gave a lot of insight into a friendship he had with the late great Owen Hart, and we're very fortunate this time of year to be able to present the annual Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Now, due to their friendship, Khan thought it would be cool to feature Jarrett in the tournament given their extensive relationship. Khan also expressed his excitement for Jarrett's first round match in the tournament, which is set to take place at the Beach Break edition of Dynamite on July 3rd, where he'll face a mystery wildcard participant. Of course, the winner of the match will move on to the semi-finals to face current Unified World Trios champion Jay White, with the eventual final to take place on July 10 in Hart's hometown of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Of course, the winner will receive an AEW World Championship opportunity at the upcoming AEW All-In event at London's Wembley Stadium. Now, an interesting backstage hire for All Elite Wrestling. Eagle-eyed viewers of AEW Dynamite will have noticed a familiar face on a recent episode of the show, as Ray Lloyd, better known as WCW star Glacier, was seen breaking up a backstage brawl between MJF and Roosh. Now, many fans were left wondering whether Glacier was simply at the show visiting, was hired as an extra, or perhaps there was more to it, and it seems Glacier is in fact All Elite. Fightful Select has been able to confirm that the former WCW star has been part of AEW for a few months, where he has been working primarily as a backstage producer as well as a coach. Now, the company didn't give a specific date when it came to Glacier actually joining AEW, but it was confirmed that despite working behind the scenes for a while, the official hiring happened fairly recently. Longtime AEW fans will be familiar with Glacier as an in-ring competitor, as in the 90s, WCW talent was part of the first match actually in AEW history, the Casino Battle Royale at Double or Nothing 2019. Now, it's unlikely that Glacier will follow up on this match with a return to in-ring action for AEW in his new role, but he hasn't technically retired from action as he wrestled for QT Marshall's Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling as recently as February of this year. So you never know what could happen, but Glacier is working backstage in All Elite Wrestling. And finally, tonight's SmackDown will take place from the world's most famous arena. WWE is reportedly set for a presentation change for tonight's June 28 edition of SmackDown at Madison Square Garden. There will reportedly be a, quote, scaled back set for tonight's broadcast in New York City. As WWE returns to the historic Madison Square Garden, PW Insider notes that the set will be scaled back, which often signals a bid to allow in more fans to the venue. According to WrestleTix, the current setup for the show allows for 17,660 people, and as of yesterday evening, that being June 27, there have been 16,646 tickets distributed. Now, overall, the distributed total still beats WWE's last appearances in the venue, including the Holiday Super Show on December 26, with an attendance of 15,831, and July 7, 2023, which drew a crowd of 13,617. Currently announced for the show, a Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony with a new iteration of the Bloodline featuring new arrival Jacob Fatu, who arrived last week. Also, a pair of women's Money in the Bank qualifying matches, Candice LeRae versus Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton in one three-way match, and Naomi versus Blair Davenport versus Indy Hartwell in the other. There's also a men's Money in the Bank qualifying match with LA Knights versus Santos Escobar versus United States champion Logan Paul. But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.